What's your, oh, you're not joking, moment? If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. 30 to 45 days after separating, before divorce was final, but I was already out of the house. My boyfriend is moving in. His name is Froy. Freaking Froy. My name is Roy. Are you serious? Edit. I just wanna say thank you to everyone who shit on that fool's name. Divorce sucks, and this just made my day. It's also my first top comment on a Reddit post. LOL. Don't feel bad. She had to downgrade to the generic knockoff brand. I bet her and Froy will enjoy their fruit-flavored Taurus cereal while watching the Avengeables movie on their Sony TV. Fake Roy. Froy. I saw this episode of Friends. Rachel goes out with Ross after Ross. I work at a hotel. We have this regular who comes, but usually makes reservations ahead of time, and she has her favorite room she tries to get. Well, one day she walked in, asking for a room. I had rooms available, but not the one she wanted, and she replied, "Oh, call the guests in that room and tell them to move out so I can have it." I seriously thought that was a joke, and I played along, saying, "I'll get right on that," as I was getting her info in the computer. All of a sudden she said, "Aren't you going to call them? Call who? Those guests in that room, so I can have it." Oh, you really weren't joking? I told her that we don't do that. If she wanted that room, she needed to call ahead. I have a room. I know it's not your preferred room, but it's all I've got, and you can take it or leave it, but I'm not moving a guest out. She seemed almost taken aback by that, but I told her that if she didn't take the room I had, she wouldn't get anything. She calls ahead now, but I was mortified and shocked she actually tried this stunt, and actually meant it. I work in healthcare, at a gastroenterology clinic. I have patients that have demanded that I move other patients' procedures and visits, so they can have the spot. WTF Judy. That's not how any of this works. I was eating ice cream, and an old guy walking into the ice cream parlor said, "Oh, that looks good. I'm gonna get a spoon." I smiled and laughed awkwardly until his damn spoon was in my ice cream. What kind of person does that? Also, that would be hilarious to just watch. Had a neighbor who was a single guy in his 40s, divorced, had a college-age daughter that stayed with him half the time. Seemed like they were having a sort of family reunion one weekend, and I saw him talking with others out on his back deck. A little while later, I went over to ask to borrow something. His daughter answered, and I asked if her dad was there. She said her dad was dead, and I just chuckled and was like, haha, yeah right. She just looked at me and turned around crying and went back inside. Her mom, his ex-wife, came out right away and saw I was confused, shocked, and very apologetic. She was really nice about it, saying it had just happened and was the first time the daughter had had to answer the door. Apparently he had committed suicide. I obviously felt so terrible, apologized profusely. I thought for sure I had just seen him, and the way the daughter had announced it seemed almost light-hearted. Turns out, who I saw on the back deck was his brother, who looked a lot like him, and all the family was there for the funeral. That got real dark, real fast. Had an old lady ask me when her dog would grow its leg back after an amputation. I feel bad for her. She thought she owned a pet lizard. I asked the nurse that after I lost my fingers. Her face was priceless. My next door neighbor's son, we've all known each other for 20 years, wanted to buy a very fancy car after he got his first job. His mom had the balls to ask my mom if she would co-sign the loan. She wasn't kidding. What did you tell them? My mom said she's already up to her eyeballs in debt, and no one would lend to her. At a co-worker's house, playing poker after our NFL fantasy draft, one guy asked where the bathroom was, and off he went. Came back a few minutes later, and the host asks if he seriously just took a shit in his house. We all laughed, and turned our attention back to the poker game. He wasn't joking. He was genuinely upset that someone used his bathroom to take a shit. He said it was extremely rude, and something you should wait until you get home to do. What did the guy think? He just wanted a tour of the bathroom. Duh, that's what bathrooms are made for. It's a mini museum. No, extremely rude would be not using the bathroom to take a shit. A friend sent a photo of herself in a hideous wedding dress with, "Guys, I found my dress," and I completely thought she was joking. I would have responded with, "LOL," or a bath emoji, but got caught up and didn't respond for a few hours. When I checked my phone, the other bridesmaids had written, "OMG, gorge, love it," etc. and I realized she wasn't joking. I was so relieved that I didn't respond first. Side note, bid related, our bridesmaids' dresses were ugly as F and expensive. At least we all looked ridiculous that day. I joined a work Skype meeting a few minutes late, and when I joined, I asked to be filled in on what had been discussed in the meeting so far. One of my colleagues, who is usually a bit of a joker, replied, "Well, boss lady was just telling everyone about the new expectation that we wear our work uniforms while working from home." I busted out laughing. Big hearty guffaws, wiping tears from my eyes. "Alex, that's hilarious. Can you imagine?" Nobody else laughed. "We don't even have cameras in our work from home setups. Why the frick would we ever wear a uniform? Working from home. I work at a call center. No cameras even? Yeah boss. I'm wearing my uniform. I promise." Started coaching college basketball in the fall of 2020. Second day there, girl had been sick and went to the doctor to see if she had COVID. She came to meet with me and the head coach and said jokingly, or at least I thought, "Well, I don't have COVID, but I am pregnant." I laughed, thinking she was actually joking, but she was dead serious. Man, she was really bad at social distancing. PPE is crucial. I was working for Starbucks, and a customer ordered a caramel Madagascar, so I laughed, thinking it was a joke, and repeated it back correctly as a caramel macchiato. He was not joking, and called me pretentious for pronouncing it correctly, and to not name drinks. Hard to read words. This reminds me of when I worked at Subway, and a lady asked for a Macedonian cookie rather than macadamia nut. We lost our shit as soon as she walked out. Got asked for a meatball marathon instead of marinara once when I worked at Subway. Had to go to the back to laugh. Used to work at a big bank that bought out another, somewhat smaller, but still pretty big bank. About 10 years ago, some guy came in, all pissed off, because we didn't send him a new debit card with the new bank's logo on it. They intentionally made it so the old ones would continue working until they were originally set to expire. Said it was embarrassing. I can't be the only person who's gotten upset over this, right? Yeah homie, you were.